I guess marriage in essence is like a symbolic thing, as symbolizing like your commitment to someone for life. And I do not see why people think that a gay couple cannot have the same union for life or the same commitment to one another as a straight couple or a heterosexual couple does. Because if you think about it, marriage isn't, you know, specific to one religion. You know, like the radical Christian right is extremely against gay marriage, and other religions are. But if you think about it, you know, if Catholics say we won't allow people to get married in our church, I actually support that because I do believe religions should, you know, create their own ramifications. But for all the other religions out there that do allow gay marriage, why that shouldn't be legal makes no sense to me. So, I mean, it also comes down to what you believe marriage is. And I'm a person who hopes to get married one day, but I definitely do not see my mom or my mother and Sonia have anything less than a regular heterosexual couple does. And so I think domestic partnership addresses some of the issues, but the main issue is a commitment, and I don't see why they are not allowed to make the same commitment. The main thing is every day. You know, unfortunately, like the word fag or faggot has become so, you know, widely used kind of in our language, and it's a shame. And I actually have come to realize a lot of people, when they say, hey, dude, you're a total fag, they don't mean it like, hey, I think you're acting gay is bad. I think it has become something that is just, you know, it's used as a slang word, but I have to face that every day, and it you know, more than it draws notice, you know. I'm not on like a crusade. You know, people, you know, choose how to speak as long as it's not addressed at me. I don't have a problem. I've had some altercations with people that weren't so pleasant, and one of the main ones was one that happened at my school, which was kind of actually an interesting way to look at. I was on school campus, and I actually had just lost a basketball game, and I was kind of pissed off. And there was a kid on my team who I basically got along with. He wasn't, I didn't have problems with him. And he kept saying the word fag, and just because of the mood I was in, I just said, hey man, could you just cut it out? It's not, you don't need to say it. And he kept saying fag, and he started directing it towards me. And it really got to me. And then I still wouldn't, I don't like look to, you know, prove that gays are better or anything. But he came up to me and he said, I heard your mom's a fag. And it, you know, you don't really know how it happens in the moment. And I turned around and I punched him, and I knocked him on the ground, and I think I was on him for like 10 seconds, and I got pulled off, and there were school like officials present, and we got taken and we got talked to, but the school actually said I didn't have any responsibility for it. I did not get in trouble at all, and he was actually suspended because he had created an altercation in a situation that was, I guess, you know, he escalated it, and I don't have a problem with people not supporting gay marriage. I believe everyone should have, you know, their choice. But I don't believe that, you know, I keep my views to myself, you can keep your views to yourself. And I guess it's a progression, but...
I just wish we could have the same rights. Because it's like if you love another person and you want to, you know, spend your life with them and you guys make that commitment, it shouldn't really matter what gender you are. And I think it's one of these things that years from now, you know, like 50 years from now, people look back and be like, I can't believe people, you know, like gay people weren't allowed to get married. You know, like how we look back now, we're like, you know, I can't believe black people were slaves or that they couldn't vote, you know? I think it's the same kind of thing. Like, this is just another injustice.
How do you feel about homosexuals? Do you feel that it's something that can control?
Well, I think that it's partly nurture and partly nature. Like, it's something like with depression. There are some genes that make depression more common. Same thing with being gay. Some genes make being gay more common. And then it's also nurture. Like depression can be stopped through having a loving family and having therapy. Just like being gay can be either helped or stopped by having a family that's gay and having therapy against or for it.
So how do you feel about homosexual marriages or same-sex marriages?
I'm fine with it, except for a couple of stipulations. First off, it shouldn't be called a marriage, because marriage was a term that was coined by religions back thousands of years ago. And offending religious people by calling it a marriage isn't really fair, because, it was their term first. So I'm fine with it being called civil union. Now, the only right that I'm against in gay civil unions is the right to adopt children.
Why is that?
Because I believe that a heterosexual household is a better household for the children to be raised in.
So you believe that being raised by a mother and a father is more appropriate than being raised by two mothers?
Although 21 out of 50 states allow homosexuals to adopt, only 7 out of 50 states allow them to participate in domestic partnerships or civil unions, meaning that many of the homosexuals who end up adopting are forced to be single parents.
I can say I'm not gay, I will never be gay. I think it's just, it comes down to basically, they don't know a ton about it. If it's a cultural thing, if you're just born and the influences around you that you don't necessarily understand make you gay, or you're born gay. And if you're born gay, then yeah, it may be possible that, there's some likelihood, but I know just because of who my parents hang out with, and they hang out with just a variety of people, none of the gay couples I know, and I would say I know at least 20 or 30, none of them have gay kids. So, I can't support it. I can't necessarily change people's mind, but I'd say I do think in the way I feel that it's something that just happens to people, and that it's a cultural thing more than a biological thing. Because, as you may know, there are some really people who aren't so comfortable with that lifestyle who really discriminate against gays, and they get gay kids.
Yeah.
So, Dick Cheney has a gay daughter. I don't know what you do about that. And I personally don't find it. It has not had an influence. It has had an influence on my life greatly, but it hasn't influenced me or my decisions. And I would say that, I think you should let people make their own choices, and I do perceive it as a choice to be comfortable with letting yourself go to that place, and I don't think it has anything to do with how your parents are.
They should be treated the same. I don't think that if you have two parents that are female or two parents that are male, I'd rather have a kid feel loved and then grow up in foster care, and have that support. I think it is important to have, other role models of both genders, but, there's always going to be other people around. It's not like you don't live in a bubble, So.
Adoption in California is straightforward. Anyone can adopt. Gender and sexual orientation and marital status have nothing to do with adoption in the state of California. And it's been that way for quite a while. The states in the far south, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, still have some issues with it. It's going through the courts.
Yeah.
We'll see. There is no research that has concluded that someone who's gay, can't raise a child. The interesting thing is that any of us who were gay or lesbian or bisexual or transgender were actually raised by heterosexual parents. So the question is, should we look at heterosexual parents as being the cause of being gay? So there's no evidence that says that because you're gay or lesbian that if you raise children that they will be gay or lesbian. The evidence actually leads the other direction.